What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about how Americans should behave themselves in the UK. What I have here today is a very interesting Reddit discussion where people living in the UK are basically giving advice to Americans on how to act normal in the UK, how to behave ourselves, which can be a bit of a challenge for Americans, I'll admit it. As Americans, we definitely tend to just go other places in the world and just act like Americans. We pretend like nothing has changed. We pretend like we're still in the United States. We bring our Americanisms, our American culture and way of behaving wherever we go, and it can stick out. So I thought this would be a really fun discussion to take a look at, maybe get some advice from people in the UK, how Americans can behave more like someone in the UK should. Someone asked, I'm an American who just moved to the UK. Any advice? They basically asked, do you have any tips or advice for an American living in England and also being in England for the first time? All right. I think it's funny how they worded this as well. I'm looking for some advice on the best way to blend in, to just not stick out as Americans in the UK. And let's take a look at some of the top answers to this from people in the UK saying, please don't do the accent. It will never go down well. Oh no, I already know what they're talking about. The accent. The British accent. What Americans think is the British accent, we should never do. Okay, that's fair. There are literally dozens of English accents, not a single accent, as many Americans seem to think. Yes. Yeah, oh my gosh. Yes, I have actually looked at videos of different accents around the UK, and there are so much more than I ever knew. For some reason, here in America, we just have one stereotypical British accent. I don't even want to do it. This comment is literally telling me not to do it, but I'm in America right now. I'm safe. No one can get to me. No people in the UK can get to me and stop me. But seriously, it's like the Mary Poppins chimney sweep accent, if you know what I'm talking about, where people are like, hello, how's it going there? Oh, I want a bottle of water. It's just this way over the top. Or I don't. Maybe that does exist in some shape or form in certain places in the UK, but the fact that that is our default British accent, I understand why people in the UK are annoyed by it. And I definitely would not do that I would be too embarrassed to actually pull that out in the UK. I guess there's a difference between, living in the UK as an American. Should Americans just stick to our accent? Just stick to the American accent and just own it while living in the UK? Is it okay for Americans to try to adopt some British accent, a local British accent? Or should Americans just not even? Because there's a difference, I think, between the stereotypical obnoxious attempt at a British accent where Americans are almost making fun of the British accent, and that's different than an American genuinely trying to have a genuine, authentic British accent and acclimate to the local culture so that they don't stick out. That's an interesting thought. I've never thought about that. Huh. I'd be interested in hearing thoughts about that from people in the comments. Would you rather Americans living in the UK, is it okay for Americans to try to switch to some UK accent? Or should Americans just wear the American accent and it's okay? What else do we have here? How Americans should behave ourselves in the UK. If someone says, you all right? Or, all right? We really do not want any answer other than, yeah, you. Oh, yeah, because this is a very confusing greeting to Americans. This was very confusing to me. This idea of like people in the UK say "you all right" as not really a not really saying is something wrong. Here in America, that would mean like, are you doing okay? Like, it almost is implying, is something not all right? Is something wrong? Because we never say that unless something's wrong. You would be like, are you all right? Are you okay? If someone had like a fungal infection growing out the side of their head. But apparently in the UK, it's just normal. It means hello. It means hello. You all right or all right? So I think this confuses and would confuse a lot of Americans, for sure. So you do not want Americans to answer any other way other than, yeah, you. This is kind of like how Americans say, how's it going? And we're not asking for your life story. We're really just hoping you say, good, you? And then you say, good. So it's kind of similar in that respect. We're not asking a whole question. We're just saying hello. You all right? Or in America, we say, how's it going? How's it been? And you're just supposed to say good. Good. Not, don't actually tell me how it's going. I don't got all day. It's a greeting, not a question. Exactly. And we will judge you if you truly tell us how you are. So that's kind of similar here in America. Although I feel like a lot of Americans are kind of like more chatty, chatterboxes than maybe your average person in the UK. So some Americans would be okay with you telling them how it's going. Although they'd want to be doing the talking, telling you how they're doing, and it just never end. This is what I'm looking for. I'm from the Midwest in the States, where the question, how are you, requires the response, living the dream. Anything else will grant you a quick end to the conversation. Right. It's funny. We have like very particular ways of greeting each other in America and in the UK, which sound like we're asking like more than we are. We're just saying hello, and that's it. That's funny. Kind of similar here. Kind of related. What else do we have? What other things should Americans know so that we can behave ourselves in the UK? Hello, fellow American immigrant here with over a decade of experience under my belt. Oh, this is an American who's lived in the UK for 10 years, over 10 years. What have they noticed? Okay, this is actually a valuable point of view, something I can relate to. And I think when Americans live in the UK, things that are different really stick out to Americans. So maybe this American will have some insights. The weather is always a safe topic. Okay, if you need to have a conversation in the UK, it's always good to talk about the weather. You can do no wrong. Start taking a vitamin D tablet. The whole island is deficient. You will be told about everyone's trip to Florida. Lower your voice and slow your speed down if you want to blend in better. Is that like a British like speaking rhythm cadence? Lower your voice and slow your speed down if you want to blend in better. Hello, how's it going? This will be easier the longer you're here. Is that? I'm still doing it in an American accent, though. Does that blend in more? Don't thank soldiers or police officers for their service. It will weird them out. Really? That's interesting. I've not heard that ever before. That is an American thing, I guess, huh? In America, it's very much a culture of like honoring our service members. Maybe over the top. We really emphasize, military service, police service. You could definitely go up to a police officer or a soldier and definitely tell them, hey, thank you for your service. Some people will say, God bless you. Thank you for your service, for your protection. I'll pray for you. You might hear that in some places. Like it can't even get too over the top. Not possible. But in the UK, that would be weird. It's good to know. I guess in the US we just have placed a bit more emphasis on we think it's like one of the most honorable, most amazing, incredible things you can do, basically, serve in the military. And I'm sure people in the UK like think that about their military service members. Maybe not like so openly and bluntly like that. Interesting. If you do something minor to yourself, like a broken ankle, go to the minor injury unit. Minor injury unit? At the local community hospital instead of the emergency room. There's a minor injury unit. Man, this American living in the UK has some good advice about how us Americans can acclimate to UK culture a bit. I would never have known this. This is important. Go to the minor injury unit. This is different than the emergency room. I made this mistake and the nurse was mad at me? Don't forget to file your American taxes every year. Oh God. The British driver's test is absurdly difficult. Oh no. I've driven all over the world, had my license for 16 years. When I took the test here, I failed twice. Why is the British driver's test randomly so much more difficult? Huh? Get yourself an instructor. Oh my God. Okay. Very interesting. I want to take a look at some more point of view from people in the UK. Okay, here we have welcome to the home of the best breakfast food in the world. Oh, okay. This isn't really a tip on how to behave ourselves. We will gladly indulge in the UK breakfast. You just need to know it's football, not soccer. That would actually be difficult. No joke. That would actually be difficult for Americans to get used to. I don't know why we call it soccer. It took a long time, actually, for me to realize we're really the only place in the world that calls it soccer. Everyone else really calls it football. We are the weird ones. I didn't know that for a long time. That would take some getting used to. Oh, you would definitely stick out if you called it soccer. Oh, that'd be like a flashing arrow pointing to you, saying, American! American! If your accent didn't already give it away. You're trying to do a British accent to fit in, and you're like, oh, I went to the soccer match. And it's people are like, looking at you funny, like, what was that weird accent? That didn't even sound right. And he said soccer. There's a difference between England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. This is one of the first things I ever learned on this channel. One of the first videos I ever did, and this blew my mind. It also blows my mind how every American is confused about this. I feel like I'm one of the few who have seen the light, and I've come out the other side. Most Americans say England, Britain, UK, all like they are interchangeable, like they are the same exact thing. There's a difference between Great Britain, the United Kingdom, British Isles. British Isles. See, there's stuff I don't even know still. Like British Isles, what's the British Isles? Does that include Ireland? Yeah. But going back to this, most Americans, don't even know Ireland is split into Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, I believe. and Wales. Wales is in the UK. There's a lot of Americans don't know that. And it's kind of embarrassing. But so true. So true. I mean, yes. This is if Americans are going to truly behave themselves and acclimate to UK living, you gotta know what everything's called and what's there. Absolutely. I think you might be overthinking it, mate. If you're a C word, you'll be treated as one. I'm pretty confident that this is the same the world over. Oh, okay, so this person in the UK is just saying, hey, you're asking for all these tips about how to behave in the UK, how to blend in. He's saying, you know what, you might be overthinking it. Just be a good person. Just be a good person. Just don't be an annoying American and you'll be fine. That can be difficult for a lot of Americans, though. Maybe learn to become invested in what the weather is doing and when it needs to be discussed. I can't believe how much this comes up. I thought this was almost like a joke. I don't think this is a joke anymore. I think discussing the weather is honestly something you actually do regularly in the UK, and it's acceptable, and it's safe and cozy. Talking about the weather. Okay, that's not the first time I've heard this. You'll probably need a month's course at the minimum before you get to grips with the discussions over weather. For example, you can't just talk about if it's unusual, except a lot of the times you can. What? I don't get it. Now we're getting into the nuances of talking about the weather. I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't know it was so complicated. You drink tea now, right? Right. I'm glad someone mentioned this. I didn't even think of that. Of course. If you're any like self-respecting member of the UK, even if you're an American moving there, you drink tea. You got to drink tea. Yorkshire Gold. Yorkshire Gold. Is that the tea? I have wondered for so long. What is the tea everyone's drinking? What is the standard tea? Cuz here in America, it's like you see Earl Grey, um green tea? I don't even know what other teas there are. I don't know if those are like right or Yorkshire Gold. Now I have a name. Yorkshire Gold. Got it. A lot of people give UK flack about our food, but honestly, try some of it. Get a tin of beans. Put it on some Warbies, super toasty, and you will get it. Is that a bread? Get a tin of beans and put it on some toast. Yeah. This person in the UK is saying, hey, if you're going to live here, get the right tea, get some beans, get the toast, learn to love it. Beans kind of scare me. It's not really a thing. Like for me in America, I think some Americans enjoy beans. Most of us don't think about beans ever, let alone on toast. We stand in queues, not lines. If a person was to cut the queue, the response is to tut and mumble under your breath. Right. I like this about the UK. I like the respect and reverence around the queues. It can be chaos here in America. Sometimes people pretend like they don't know how a line works, how a queue works. People will cut in line. People will see you waiting in line, and almost, it feels like they're pretending like they don't know what you're doing, and they'll just walk in front of you. And then you have to be like, I was in line. I was in the queue. And they're like, what? You what? You what? Huh? The line starts back there? Huh? Like their mind is just blown every time. And you're just standing there like, okay, yeah, sure. But it happens more often than you'd believe. Enjoy the UK for what it has to offer and what you can offer the UK. Wow, that's beautiful. I hope your stay provides a positive experience and becomes somewhere you can call home. That's beautiful. I think with that, that's probably a good place to end this. This actually had a lot of great tips about how Americans can behave ourselves in the UK, how Americans can act more like someone in the UK. This was actually valuable. There were a lot of tips from people in the UK, which I loved, and a couple from the American living in the UK, which was nice, because there's going to be things that stick out to Americans, that only stick out to Americans as being different, distinctly different. So that was valuable. Yeah, there are a lot of detailed suggestions here, which I loved and I think are important. This should be like mandatory like material for any American moving to the UK. Read this, and you might just survive. But I thought this was really entertaining, educational. I enjoyed it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, perhaps with your tip, your advice on how Americans should behave ourselves in the UK so that we don't annoy anyone, so that we don't act overbearingly American, and that we can acclimate and be more like someone would act in the UK. You know, that kind of thing. That'd be great to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to the UK and UK culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.